because the king wanted Israel cursed. He paid money to have Israel cursed. Balaam was the head man in that day of the religious order, and he had position, and he took his money. So he proceeds to curse Israel, but every time he opened his mouth, he blessed Israel. Yahweh was using him, and he didn't even realize it. But every time he intended to curse Israel, he blessed Israel. And when he blessed Israel, that put a curse on Moab. And so they were in a terrible shape. But he reminds us of that. He says, how shall I come before Yahweh and bow myself before the exalted Elohim? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings with calves a year old? See, now this he's getting into how in the world can we approach Yahweh? Do we have to join some religious order? Do we have to join some denomination? That's would be a question. Well, should we even go back to the old Jewish custom, which everybody thinks is a Jewish custom, but it's really a Hebrew custom, that Yahweh placed on them in the wilderness to teach them a lesson? Do we have to bring the burnt offerings? Will Yahweh be pleased with thousands of rams? Yahweh was not pleased with any rams that was given. He just put it on as an exercise to teach them something. He says, will Yahweh be pleased with 1,000 rams with 10,000 of rivers of oil? Can you imagine if we turned all of the oil into perfect virgin olive oil, that it would mount to rivers, and we brought it to him? Would that please him? For the sin of my soul? Wouldn't have anything to do. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does Yahweh require of you? But to act justly. Treat people kindly. Give them their due. Don't steal from them. Don't block them. Don't hardship them. Don't curse them. Don't talk about them. Don't blackball their family. Just be justly. That's all he wants his people to do. And to love mercy. How many people love mercy? They think they love mercy. They want to love mercy, but do they love mercy? That's the question. That's what we have to do. We have to be merciful to all. And to walk humbly with your Elohim. Now that's where he's calling Israel to be. Remember, he's pleading our cause. He's bringing us to where he wants us to be. And it's as a nation. It's not just a little congregation or a few people trying to do right. He's calling America. He's calling the British Empire. He's calling all of the colonies that's ever been associated, from the foundation all the way back to the time they went into captivity after they came out of bondage. That's who he's calling. He's talking to Israel. Yahweh's voice calls to the city, and wisdom sees your name. Wisdom understands the name and the importance of the name. Yahweh is calling. Listen to the rod. You know, we need to hear the rod. He said he's going to rule us with a rod of iron. Who's going to sit the throne of Yahweh other than Yahshua HaMashiach, who is known as the right hand and who is known as the rod? And the rod don't mean that he's got a steel stick that he can beat people over the head with it. It means his authority is true and straight and powerful and does not vary one way or the other. It's truth. It's mercy, kindness, and the way Yahweh leads his people. And he who appointed it, Yahweh appointed it. That's who we have to come in communion with, for him to plead our cause. Are there yet treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked, and a short elf that is cursed? Now, if you want to know why America is in the financial shape it's in, this right here is the analysis of what has happened. There are treasures of wickedness in our government at every level, from the national down through the states, down through the cities, the counties, right on down to the schools. And they are charged by Yahweh. Shall I be pure with dishonest scales? Remember that a lot of people buy on a set of scales and sell on another set. You know, heard the story of the buying and selling scales. And with a bag of deceitful weights. See, if you don't have the balance weight correctly, the scale won't weigh correctly. You put a short weight on one side, you get a short weight for your product that you're selling. You put a heavy weight when you're buying, you get a lot of product on there with the same number. On the scale, you got the buying and selling scale. Well, he don't like that. And that's what's happened in this state, in this country. Her rich men are full of violence. There has been violence in our legislative process. Her inhabitants speak lies. And when they raise the taxes and create entities called agencies and bureaus and all that they do to do a job, and they never really do the job, they just create an agency and a bureau to do it, and they feather bed everybody into that organization, and in order for it to function and look like it's doing something, they need to hire more people, so they got more people doing less and taking the people the money away. They're telling us lies. Yahweh don't like that. And their tongue is deceitful in their speech. And that's everything from the elected politician to the hired bureaucrat. Therefore, I also have struck you with a grievous wound. I have made you desolate because of your sins. See, Yahweh is the one that sets this thing up when people do wrong. And you wonder why something like Bernie Madoff can do a Ponzi scheme and get by with it as long as he did. Yahweh set them up. A lot of people got hung with it. But that was just like an object lesson for the rest of the world. If that one man could get that done in a little organization amongst the mighty, look what they did with the Fannie Mae and the Freddie Mac. That was a Ponzi scheme that made Madoff look like a kindergarten student. And that is one of the things that's got this country in bad shape in every market that we do, called the real estate market